The ego is the system that runs your sense of self. It is made out of thought patterns, emotions, and behavioral loops, and the stories that try to hold it all together. Left unchecked, it creates endless existential searching, chronic disconnection, and the persistent sense that something is wrong. The goal of my videos is clarity, to see your identity and its contradictions for what they are, named precisely, to finally understand what it is that we're all running away from. So the nature of insight is the ability to find some kernel within your own mind and notice that you were in denial about knowing it. That there was something that you always knew and somehow thought you didn't. The entire spiritual journey and the entire journey of finding yourself is pretty much going through your deepest crevices of the mind and psyche and find out all the stuff you were in denial about. And people are pretty much, surprised about the capacity for the mind to lie. It is actually quite uncomfortable. Like, they are not like obvious lies. Like, for me personally, if I think back and try to put myself into this position, there were lies about my own level of confidence. There were lies about my sense of certainty of my future, of my intelligence. There were lies about how easily I can attach and detach to people. There were lies about how much I knew about the world, how certain I was that there's no life after death. Or then at other parts about how certain I was that there is life after death. And there are many layers in which the human mind tries to kind of trick you into believing that you don't know something that you already do. Now, how do you kind of differentiate that? Like, how can you know when you're lying to yourself, and how do you know that there's some deeper wisdom speaking? And as a general rule, what you want to notice is when something is inauthentic to you, like something is untruthful, then what is the trigger for this like inauthentic expression? Like, if there are a certain group of people that when you hang out with them, you kind of feel like you need to pretend to be somebody that you're not, then it is useful to wonder, okay, so what is it that I am kind of feeling in this moment that makes me feel like it is important to not be myself here? And this tendency to not be yourself is where the lie really starts, because you start to pretend that you are actually yourself when you are not. You are buying an identity from modern culture, from what other people tell you what you're supposed to be. And then you start to slowly but surely believe that this is what you actually want. This is how people end up in careers that make them very unsatisfied, because somewhere they thought that this is what they're supposed to be. And then you find yourself quite uncomfortable and wondering how you even got there in the first place. So there's a signal that your mind or your body or your nervous system, some emotion, sent you in some point in time, and it communicated something to you very specific, and it was very honest to you about what this is. And then you thought you knew better. You denied that you felt this way, you kind of rationalized it away, or you just used some other forms of logic to use the easy path. And now this insight about how you actually are, what you actually want, what be authentic to you, got lost in some deep crevice of your own mind. And then it gets protected by 5, 10, 15, 500, 100,000 layers of lies. Small little things you don't notice. Things that are more like patterns than actual lies. It's just the way you behave, just the way you act. And then slowly but surely, by forcing yourself to be uncomfortable, because not being yourself is uncomfortable. Like, you're never going to lose your anxiety or lose your sense of depression or feel fulfilled in your life if you keep just hiding from yourself. So sooner or later this stuff comes up. Like, you cannot run away from yourself your entire life. Like, you can try, but usually if you found this video, you are on the path of the crevices to the deepest pits of your mind. And then slowly but surely you uncover things, and then of course it feels like you always knew this. Of course it feels super simple and obvious. because it was there since forever and you just didn't look at it. You just had always an excuse. And the typical excuse that people have is doubt. And doubt is very perverse because very intelligent and very skeptical people tend to doubt for good reasons. Because you shouldn't just believe whatever first thought comes up into your mind. You shouldn't necessarily believe whatever other people tell you. And then, healthy skepticism is in a form of intelligence. If not, it's easier to get indoctrinated. But then if you are too intelligent for your own good, then you also doubt the signals that your body is sending you. It is very, very common for people to assume that emotions are, just these temporary things that just kind of happen, and then you just kind of have to deal with them, and then they're gone. But emotions are actually wisdom from your own bodily intelligence. They communicate something to you that is far more profound than any thought that you could have. They tell you what you need or what you, don't like, or what is like actually killing your sense of authenticity that is completely beyond, the human intellect. That's why you cannot think yourself out of your feelings. You cannot avoid them. When you are effectively avoiding them through intellect, then what you become is numb and you become depressed. And it doesn't work. I know that some of the clients that I spoke to, like you can find it a lot around sleep. Like I know some people who then just started to sleep a lot, and it just kind of became part of their personality. And then they noticed, okay, wait, I'm sleeping so much because I'm actually trying to suppress some sort of guilt that I feel about something that I've done a long time ago. Or like not being able to sleep, right? You just need to keep yourself awake, because if you fall asleep, then you have dreams you don't like, and the dreams show you that what you're denying within yourself. And beyond dreams, this is what would happen very quickly if you just stop distracting yourself. Like the very effective meditation technique is to just look at the wall for an hour. Do this for 1 hour, 7 days, and I promise you, you're going to feel something if you're not happy in your life. if you're discontent and you want to figure out, okay, what is the wisdom of my body actually there to tell me? Then look at the wall for 1 hour, and you'll see that the results are very surprising. What can come up, and the thoughts kind of point you to emotions as well. So it's not just like all thoughts are problems. They often just either try to distract you or point you to something. As long as you notice that there's like a bodily wisdom underneath that has actually kind of almost like more authority, and you can put your attention on that, you'll gain a ton of deep insights about not just how your mind functions, but about how all of reality functions. And this seems kind of mystical or esoteric, because how is like focusing on my mind giving me insights, about reality? But you must understand that your mind is reality in a very meaningful and real way. Like you are constructing it. If you believe that, being yourself is necessarily uncomfortable, or is supposed to be anxious, or supposed to be depressing because this is just how you are, then you're building a reality model that convinces you that this is just how things are like, instead of investigating deeper and wondering what is underneath. The ego is the system that wants your sense of self. Where have I heard this before? So the ego is the system that wants your sense of self, and it kind of puts you into this bind where you are fueling all these sort of lies over and over again, because they, on the short term, feel more comfortable than letting all these, let's say, crevices in your mind, in your own nervous system, come to light. And the ego thinks that it protects you by running, this sort of, algorithmic system and this architecture that is there to deny all of these truths that your body hides, or that are hidden in your body, better said. And not doing anything with your own mind, like looking at a wall, forces the ego to turn off because it has nothing to really engage with except your thoughts. But even, yeah, even by not doing anything at all, the mind eventually will run itself out. And oftentimes 1 hour is enough for the body to give its signals and tell you, hey, this is what is actually going on here. Please pay attention. And what is so magical about this entire ordeal is that at the end of the day, when these emotions arise, they come with a certain thought. And this thought often is a truth that is then this revelation of, oh wow, I always knew this. This is how I am. And this is the nature of the insight. And once an insight is truly seen, it cannot be unseen. It infects the rest of the body. It infects the rest of the nervous system. Now, there are certain depths to insights that are often underestimated. And sometimes you need to see things multiple times to truly be integrated in what you've seen. But you do not need to worry that you will forget it because you do already know. If you need help to uncover the crevices of your mind, you can check out my ego architecture protocol where I explain exactly how my methodology works. As a very important tip that I want to add in this entire thing is that for most people, the struggle is that they get lost in overthinking. And they believe that overthinking is what will reveal to them what they're hiding from themselves. And the issue with thought is that you can always weave any story that you want to weave. Your intellect can convince you of whatever it wants to convince you. Logic has the tendency to not look for the right conclusion, but the conclusion that you want to believe in. And people like to believe that being logical and rational protects them from these sort of biases, but it is pretty much the opposite. Like if you really are logical, you can construct very meticulous systems to deny what lies underneath the system. And this is usually how people get stuck in these unsatisfied lives for so many years. And then this overthinking, actually what it wants to do is it wants to break out of the loop of the system that has constructed. It wants to find where lies the lie on which this entire system is built on. And there is the possibility that through thinking a lot, you might actually stumble upon some pillar belief, some pillar fear, or some pillar idea on which this entire system rests on. Now, the thing that logic doesn't do so well, which is the pivotal thing that must be done when you focus on these mental aspects, is that you then must be able to question this pillar, and not like just wondering, oh, is this actually true or is this actually false? But in a way, you must prove this pillar wrong. So you kind of deconstruct overthinking by accepting that it doesn't matter how you think about something. Like if it's just purely logical, if it's not like evidence-based or whatever, but if it's just purely a matter of perspective that you can kind of like reason yourself into, then you kind of must come to the point where you realize that you can always validate both sides of the story. And therefore, both sides of the story are kind of true. And kind of both are wrong. And then logic destroys itself and skepticism becomes skeptic of itself. And all this can lead you towards is deeper recognition of how important the insights of your emotions, of your body, and of how important your nervous system really is. The path to complete existential wholeness, peace within yourself, peace of mind, and living a life that feels nice to live, always lies at the other side of deep personal insight. I also wrote a Substack article about existential insight that you can find here. I think it's actually a paid one.